You can have all that you want to, darling. Know the world is yours. I've been up chasing the sunsets just to see if there's more. 'Cause it's been so long since I tried to love. It's been so long since I tried to love. It's been so long since I tried to love. It's been so long since I tried to love.
Welcome to the Sparkle Show. With us, we have Glory Salas. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I am good. Girl, you look so beautiful today.
Thank you. I got ready like last minute, so I was like...
So you're doing so many things. You're involved in church, fitness. I know we have a big, important story to tell here, but we'll ease the audience into it. Tell us a little bit about the different things you have going on.
Well, I'm very similar to you. I bartend. I see that you bartend at 559. So I did the same thing for Press Box with the Millers.
Nice.
I don't know if you knew that. So I do that. That's my fun job.
We all have to have a fun job. And then you're selling isogenics as well?
Correct. Yeah. I've been a independent distributor for about 2 years now. And the crazy story, the way that I got introduced to that was through Instagram. And my mentor, her name's Emily Varvra, and she is incredible. She's a motivational speaker. She spoke with Tony Robbins, like really big time people. And so she found me on Instagram, and I was doing, like little fitness workouts and stuff. And she was just like, I love your personality. Like, you're amazing. She's like, you would be incredible at this. But, most network marketing companies have a bad rep because, you get all these promises and then they don't deliver.
That's true.
So I was very hesitant. I was just like, I feel like this is too good to be true. I don't really know if this is the real deal or not. But I mean, I've started doing the business for about a year now, and my residual income is just like through the roof. I'm number 1 in California. A lot of people don't know that.
Yay.
Yes, Central Cali is on fire. And then I'm number 11 in the company. So I've been doing really, really good.
You are crushing it.
It's been an incredible blessing to me and to our team. And it is the real deal. I sound like a unicorn from a fairy tale, but it's real. It really is real.
That's incredible. And then you go to church a lot. I know you're really active in that community. And it's funny because everybody I know that sells isogenics is a Christian. They're pretty much active in their church. That has no correlation. Huh?
No, not really. I mean, it's just, for me, I'm not like, what do you call it? I'm not very like churchy, quote unquote. It's more about the relationship with God that I have rather than the relationship with like the actual building.
Good.
To say.
That's how it should be.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing that I loved about Isogenics, because it is a health and wellness company, but the community is really what got me, meeting people, of different backgrounds, different types. And we all have one thing in common is we all want to live a better life. And so the community is really what, stood out to me. And especially, when I went through really hard times this past October. I don't know if I should get into it right now.
How long have you been with Isogenics?
2 years since I first enrolled.
Okay. So a year after Isogenics, that's when your life kind of turned upside down. And you're welcome to divulge into that, Glory.
Yeah. So I was in Isogenics for about a year. And then this past October, me and my husband, we were going on an anniversary trip to Mexico, like a 2-day cruise. And our normal nanny, she's been with us forever. She's like family to us, was watching our 3 children. and
What are
I
the
got
ages?
a call.
What were the ages at the time in October?
My oldest was 8, and then my daughter Cassidy was 5, and then my youngest son was 4. So, yeah. So I got a call. This is a crazy story. A lot of people don't know this. I got a call, and literally the cruise just took off. And I got a call from Clovis PD, and they were like, hey, you know, there's been an accident in your home, and your daughter drowned. And I'm like, what? And the terrible part is the cruise ship wouldn't turn around. They wouldn't let me off. I was stuck on a cruise ship for 16 hours.
Can we hear what cruise ship this is, or if you want to divulge?
Yeah, they already know. Carnival.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it was terrible the way they treated us. They wouldn't let us talk to the captain. They like said, oh, go talk to guest services. And I'm like, what? Yeah. And I'm literally like, I couldn't sleep. I was throwing up all night. I was just sick to my stomach because I had no idea, you know, exactly what happened, what was going on. And so luckily, one of my friends is a private pilot jet, he owns a jet, and then he knows how to fly. So he flew out to Catalina Island the next morning, picked us up, took us all the way back to Fresno. We were there in 2 hours. And then that's when I was informed on kind of what happened. Long story short, she was left in the bathroom unattended, and she ultimately drowned. They don't know how because no one had eyes on her. And my 9-year-old is the one that found her. And so she was on life support for about 2 weeks. I was praying, you know, that a miracle would happen, but ultimately she didn't make it because she was without oxygen for so long underwater that she ultimately passed away because she was ultimately brain dead.
What?
Yeah.
When you first heard that, do you have a pool?
No, she drowned in a bathtub.
Well, I was just wondering when they said she drowned, were you confused?
Yeah, I
initially
was.
when you heard the report because you're like,
I was
we don't
so
have
confused.
a pool.
I'm like, what do you mean she drowned? Like, you know, like, what do you mean? But the thing is number one, you know, eyes weren't on her. Number two, the door wasn't fully open. And so it could be any possibility. Like, she could have fainted. She could have slipped and hit her head, was unconscious. But because she was left so long without someone checking on her is what ultimately cost her life.
Man, you know what I think is so great is that your faith still comes through all of that. I would just think it would be hard to keep that faith. I've never been in a situation like that. So what were some of the tools you used to get through this time?
It's been rough. I'm not gonna lie, it's been rough, but it's like every day I have to wake up and find like the best in life, to find qualities in people. And also, you know, my other kids, I have to push forward for them. And you know, Cassidy, she was only 5 years old, but like she just had such a spirit about her. Like, she was so mature for being 5. She would have real mature conversations with my friends, my adults. Most kids, you know, would want to go hang out with other kids. She would want to hang out with the adults, you know? And she was just so full of life, and she loved everyone. And that's where it's like, when I went through that, you know, like we were talking about isogenics, gosh, that you don't hear about this, but at her funeral, corporate, his name's Cal. I'm very close with him, and he's in charge of California. He surprised me, and he flew out for her funeral dressed in pink because that was her favorite color, and was just there for us. And the company sent us flowers and food, and they really loved on us and our family and checked up on us. And there's an award in the company called Heart of Isogenics, and we're in 20 different countries. And so out of 20 different countries, I won that award in January on behalf of Cassidy, which was such an honor, and I was able to share her story. And it was really beautiful. And that's what keeps me going, is that, you know, there's someone out there that is going through something, you know, whether it's, you know, life happens, right? And just because, I think like you're saying, just because you're a believer, just because you believe in God, doesn't mean bad things can't happen to you. Because ultimately we live in a tainted world where it's like walking on eggshells, and it's just you just never know, you know? And so a lot of people are like, why don't you blame God? And I'm like, God doesn't want bad things to happen to us, but because we live in a sinful world, it's bound to happen. It's like rolling the dice. You just never know, you know?
If you want to talk about it, what happened with the nanny thereafter?
That's a really hard subject. It's really unfortunate because I showed her so much empathy because I used to be a nanny. So I put myself in her shoes thinking, oh my God, I would be suicidal. I would be like a wreck. And ultimately, I never got the apology or the empathy that I thought I deserved, like that I thought she would give. And that's where it really hurts, is because I feel like I lost two people that day. Because the person I thought I knew and loved and trusted turned out to not be that person. And so that's where it's like ultimately testing me as a person, because, you know, like I really want to like punch her in the face and be like, F you. But then I'm like, you know what, that's not the best of me. That's not the best version of Glory. Like, don't be that person. Don't bash her. Don't like, you know, talk bad about her, ill will. You know, that's where unconditional love, like love your neighbor, really comes in, where it's like, that person did me so dirty, but I'm still going to walk in love.
Do you see her? Do you guys go to the same church or see each other around town?
No, I mean, I've ran into her at a grocery store. It was very awkward, to the point where I was like, oh, look, avocado, and just kind of like walked the other direction, you know, just because I didn't have anything nice to say. And you know, my family taught me, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say it at all. So,
is there any legal ramifications, or you guys chose not to go that route?
That's where it's completely shocking to me, the justice system, because I've been reading of other parents that have been through very similar situations with nannies and having children drown in bathtubs due to negligence, and the parents literally have no rights. It's literally in the justice system's hands. So that's where it's been frustrating. They are investigating it thoroughly, and, you know, ultimately, I mean, it's like, it's not going to bring Cassidy back, you know, so.
And lawsuits, or that's just still with the justice system? Isn't that separate? Can't you go after, you're trying not to?
It is separate, yeah. It is separate. I mean, but ultimately, it's like what am I going to get? You know, material things, it's not going to bring her back, you know? So it's just one of those things where it's like,
how much effort do you want to put in that? Because you have to relive it if you go through that.
Exactly. And that's where it's, you know, it's a wound. It's very painful to have to go through the whole story from A to B to C to D, and have to go through that process. It is a long process if you do a civil lawsuit. So
how are your sons doing?
So my oldest is Presley. She has a boy. I know she has a tomboy name. She's a girl. And then my youngest, Zane, he's 4. He misses her. He asks for her like all the time. They were only a year and a half apart, so they were best friends. And then obviously my oldest daughter, she's doing the best she can, but she's the one that found her, and she's the one that pulled her out. And so that is something, as a mother, I can never take those images away from her. And so I tell people, I'm like, if you really want to pray for somebody, you know, pray for her, because she's struggling. She is struggling. And I'm doing the best to help her and to, you know, get her therapy. But it's hard because she blames herself too a lot. Sorry.
Do you guys go through family therapy at all?
Yeah, we were. You know, that's just, it sucks because we were going through family therapy, and then COVID happened, and it just kind of came at the worst time. You know,
you finally kind of got in the groove a little bit of going.
Yeah,
because it's hard to just go initially, right?
yeah, she had her friends at school. She had her, her school was amazing. I mean, they just loved on her so much, and she had a therapist at school, and her teacher was so amazing. She would allow Presley anytime she thought of her, write her a note, and she made her like a little wish box to her sister. So that's why I was so sad when they closed school, because I'm like, that was the one thing that was
a good support system.
A good support system that was helping her feel normal. And then, it kind of stripped all that and took her friends away and stuff. And I watched her kind of decline a little bit.
What's the relationship now between Presley and Zane? Did they get closer? What's the dynamic there?
Yeah, she's definitely been more like cautious with him, and she watches over him, and they're bonding, but they're so far apart in age, so it's kind of hard, but they love each other. So it makes me happy when they like ride their bikes together and stuff. So
how are you and your husband doing? Are you guys kind of helicopter parents now, or you're just trying to go back into the normal of just, no, they still need their space, we don't need to watch over them every minute? That's not what happened.
I mean, like, I'll give you an example, Zane, probably like a month ago, I like woke up and he wasn't in his bed, and I like freaked out. And I literally had a full-on panic attack because I couldn't find him. I was like looking through my house, and then come to find out he's asleep underneath my bed. I just saw his little foot on the other side. Wow. But it completely brought back that like anxiety and like, oh my God, like where's my child? And I'm like going out the front door, like thinking someone stole him. Like, I don't know, because I am traumatized by what happened. And, I am more cautious. I am maybe a little bit overbearing, but I don't want to suffocate them. But I do get that like anxiety.
So what do you do now when you guys want to go out? How do you get a babysitter?
My parents, they kind of watch them, not really. So a lot of my close friends have like stepped up, and they're just like, we'll watch your children because we don't want anyone else to watch them. And so I've been very fortunate by like having really good friends in my life that will help support us or watch them if I do go out, or me and my husband, I'll go out one time, he'll go out one time type thing.
How's your husband dealing with all of this?
He's doing good. I mean, that was like his baby girl. They had this video that ABC 30 aired, and
I saw that.
It's so cute. Like she would love to be told in 10 different ways how much he loved her, and she would count on her fingers. And like he called her, his baby girl in his whole wide world. And so that it's been hard on him because they were so close. So
what does he do? Did his work give him time off? Did your guys' jobs give you some time? What was the initial grieving process? Because there was 2 weeks she was in the hospital, so I'm sure you had to be by the side the whole time.
Back to Isogenics. This is where Isogenics has been such a blessing to our life. So he's a painting contractor, and he could not work. And then me, I do Isogenics full time, and then I also bartend. So during that time, we were not working. We were not in the mental place to actually work. And so the beautiful thing about Isogenics, it is residual income. So as we were in the hospital, we were still getting paid. Money was still coming in.
That's amazing.
And we took as our family, we took like 3 months off from doing anything just to be there for the kids and just really take extra care of them and ourselves too. But during that time, our team just completely took off, and we were making enough money to pay our bills through Isogenics. And I think that's what's so powerful about that company is the residual aspect. I never had to worry about when money was going to come in because it came in every Monday. And that's the powerful thing about Isogenics is that you just never know if you're going to get sick or have a family death. Or I have a lot of friends with parents go through chemo, and they just have to be there for their parents, and they're able to still make money from home, and their team helps them make money to get through tough times. So That's what's really
incredible.
beautiful.
So did your husband return to work? Is he working now?
Yeah, he is working now. He's so busy. He's working right now. So he's been super busy. Everyone wants like all their house stuff done now that, everything's gone, I guess. I don't know.
Did you guys ever go on another vacation after that?
Not yet. Not yet. Not quite there yet. Maybe eventually. I know my 30th in July, so I do want to do a dirty 30.
Oh, you're so beautiful. You're so young.
Thank you. You are too. Honestly, I've been girl crushing on you for about a year. And I remember meeting Mike, who used to be your old producer, and I was just raving about you. He was just oh, you totally got to meet her. And I'm like, I know.
Oh, you have such a great energy. What is it like with your friends really supportive when all of this went down? Did you see people really come together as a community besides the Isogenics community?
Oh yeah. I mean, my friends, we just celebrated her 5th birthday on Sunday, and I have family, but I feel like family doesn't always make you blood. You know what I mean? And my friends just went above and beyond, and they surprised me with a professional photographer to take all these gorgeous pictures. And, even, after Cass passed, they did a GoFundMe, and they raised so much money that financially we didn't have to pay for her funeral. And that was such a huge blessing. And they orchestrated her whole funeral for me so that I didn't have to plan any details or whatnot. And that was really, really special. It was really beautiful.
So tell me a little bit about the personality of all 3 children and the dynamic that they had and the dynamic that they have now.
Okay, so Presley's my oldest. She's very sweet. She's a little shy, but she's my artist. She's really good at art. We've actually sent some of her art to Disney, and they're like, whoa, she's really, really good. And then Cassidy is my middle child, and Cassidy, oh my God, that girl loved anything that sparkled. And
that she would have loved me.
Yeah, no, totally. She loved shoes. She even had the crossover purses, and it had to be real leather. She knew the difference.
She's fashionable. She was a fashion girl.
Oh, yes. And she was sassy. She just had so much attitude for a little 5-year-old.
I wonder where she got that.
Yeah, I'm all not me. It's probably her Latina side, the little spice. And then she just had so much confidence, and she would walk into a room and people would be like, oh my God, this little girl is amazing. And even she would buy high heels with diamonds and stuff, little kid ones. And there's a shoe store we used to go to, and all the sales ladies just adored her. They knew her by name. They'd always show her the newest shoe that came out. She'd be like, I want these, And then you have my son Zane, who is so much like Cassidy because they were so close. He's sassy, and then he's super smart too, because she, at 5, she's teaching him how to read, right? And so I love him. He's my little papas. He's my little man.
Who's the most mischievous one out of all of them?
Definitely Cassidy. She was the one that would play with the borderline. She'd be like, can I get away with this? Can I not? But Zane's like that too. So now, Zane picks on his oldest sister all the time. So sometimes she's like, Zane did this to me. And I'm like, you're bigger than him. He's 4, So.
Were Cassidy and Presley pretty close? Because that's a little bit of an age difference. Do they still play dolls together? Do they do stuff like that?
Oh, yeah. So they were extremely close because, her maturity too. She was 5. But
she liked the adults.
She was so mature. Yeah, she liked adults. She loved Snapchat. That girl was she'd sit on my friend's lap and she'd be like, you got Snapchat? She was just very mature. So they got along really well because, she was 5, but she acted so much older. So.
Oh, that's incredible. So are any of them in sports at all?
Presley wanted to do soccer, but then everything happened. So that kind of went away. And then Zane is doing little ninjas, which is super cool. It's kind of like gymnastics, but for guys. So they have them do all kinds of like cartwheels and flips. And then Cassidy was a really good gymnastic. Like she was so good at gymnastics. She was very advanced for being 5. So she was so good at that. Like the back.
This girl sounds so much like me because I was doing gymnastics at that age. I was mischievous. I was the whole. So which kid were you like when you were a kid?
I mean, it's so crazy because like I feel like I'm like mixed, very sweet, shy, and timid, but then I also am very spitfire. Like if you really know me, you're like, ooh, that girl's fun. So I feel like Cassidy definitely got both sides from me as far as being sassy, but that confidence, I mean, it is kind of sad because like when you're so young and you haven't really got like hurt by the world, you know what I mean? People haven't burned you or picked you apart or whatever. Everyone has haters, right? You're so confident, like you just don't care. And so after losing her, I was just like, man, if I could be half the girl she was, like I would be okay. And so I'm learning to be okay with like who I am and just not care what people think. And some people are going to love me and some people are going to hate me, but that's that, you know, it is what it is. So
isn't it amazing what children teach us?
Yeah, it really is, because it's like, when do we stop dreaming? You know what I mean? It's like, just because someone tells us we can't do it doesn't mean we can't. You know what I mean? And so I just feel like a lot of people, they need to adjust their mindset to like be like, you know what? I do want to live out my dream. I do want to do that, and just go for it, you know?
So what do you want people to take away from you and this experience and from Cassidy?
So really quick, we are doing a fundraiser for her. It's super special. I can send you the link, but we started a fundraiser on her birthday in her honor with the ISA Foundation, who is also affiliated with Isogenics, but it's separate. So the ISA Foundation got started in 2018. They've given away over $3.3 million, like all over the place. They're in Kenya, they're in different places. They also do a lot of charity work here in the United States with orphanages, helping people with, you know, better healthy food, and then also feeding children in need. So that's something very close to my heart, because Cassie has such a big heart, and she literally would give the clothes off her back to somebody. And so I couldn't think of a better way to honor her than to do a fundraiser to help feed children in need. So on her birthday, we launched that. ABC 30 did a little segment about it, and it goes from June 14th to this Sunday. So
this is going to air after. Where else can we go? Is there another fundraiser that we could donate to honor in her?
Oh, it'll still be open. Yeah, it'll still be open. So I can send you the link. Her link will still be up. It's just they're running it till Sunday, but we could still give into the actual link.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. So what have you walked away with after all this? I mean, I don't know, like they say, the 5 stages of grief. Right now, are you like trying to find a purpose and you want Cassidy's memory to live on? What would you tell the audience right now?
Yeah, what I've learned is I feel like it doesn't matter what age, you know, when you lose somebody, you do go through those feelings, you do go through that. And I feel like it should be talked more. I feel like people should talk about real life situations more and not run from them. And so, you know, a lot of people are like, you know, I thought that you were going to be in a room and just be completely like grief ridden.
That's what I thought.
And I'm just like, yeah, no, it's a choice though. It's like, I don't want to stay at that level. I want to, obviously, you know, I still have those moments where I cry and I break down and I cry, but I don't stay there. I'm like, I'm not going to stay there. I'm going to keep on going. I'm going to keep on living, because that's what any loved person would want you to do, is they would want you to live life, enjoy life. And then not only that, but just really live. And what I mean by really live, I mean like live your life to the fullest, go after your dreams, go after your ambitions, and don't look back. And I think that losing her gave me a new aspect on life. I just look at life so differently, and I'm not afraid of death. And it's crazy because I used to be, but now I know what's waiting for me. And it's like, I'm fearless now, which means like, watch out world, here I come. Cause I have no fear. Like, I don't care anymore, you know? So that's kind of what's changed it for me. And, you know, our team is called the KGL, which is Cassidy Grace Legacy Team. And she was a big part of my business, and she still is. And so we're going to continue to keep building and to impact people's lives, not only, you know, financially, but physically with their health, and then just keep on growing. So it's super exciting.
So where do we go if we want to get Isagenix from you?
Yeah, I have my link on my Instagram, but I also have my own website. It's www.CassidyGraceLegacy.isagenix.com.
And what's your big seller? What is something that you really like personally?
Oh my gosh, let me grab it. Hold on. 5 seconds. Let me grab it. Hold on. Let me grab it. These are amazing. Oh shit. Can you grab me one? The bees. Oh, right here. Just kidding. All right. These right here are, oh my gosh.
I have that.
Do you have the BS?
Somebody had given me that word for Isagenix. Yeah.
Okay. Oh my gosh. Okay. So what a lot of people don't know, there's different flavors. There's like the mango, there's the citrus sunrise. We're coming out with a new flavor in July. You guys are gonna be the first ones to know, blueberry. I'm not supposed to tell anybody that, but you guys know. Okay. So the cool thing about these is they're 10 calories and they're 1 gram of sugar. And then they also use green tea. And then they give you a serving of half a serving of fruits and veggies. And then a really cool thing that's in them is called the adaptogens. And adaptogens are natural stress relievers. So for me, that right there keeps me going. It helps with my stress. If I'm having a very stressful day, I will drink this and I'll feel more centered and more calm. And like the mental clarity is like all there. So these right here have been like such a game changer.
Is it supposed to be like an energy drink? Because the guy that gave it to me told me it's supposed to give me energy, but I don't know if I felt that. I'm not sure.
But it's natural energy. So it's like, it's natural energy. So our source is from green tea leaves. So it depends on if you're really used to like, you know, bangs or whatever, then it's not necessarily going to give you that, but you won't get like the jitters or the shakes with this. It's natural. So that's my favorite product.
Now we can go to your website. What's your advice for parents? You mentioned that I bartend and, you know, train and everything, but I also was nannying up until COVID. 24 hours a week I was taking care of a baby and her 6-year-old brother. So what's your advice to parents out there looking for a babysitter nanny? I mean, some people need that. They don't have their families here.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, mine literally could be like an investigation channel because she had the perfect record. Like, she worked at the gym daycare. She had a background check. I literally bought her Disneyland annual passes for 2 years. She went on every family vacation. Like, she was showered with love. But I mean, honestly, it's just, I think she got comfortable, and ultimately that's kind of why that happened, because she just kind of got too comfortable with us.
Where she wasn't working as hard because it was like, oh, I got this, and there's that.
Yeah.
Because this story is super powerful for me, because I think about what you said. If you were in that situation, I'm like, oh my, you know, I wouldn't even know what to do.
Yeah. So I think that that's where it comes in. I wish I would have been more like, no, you're hired. Let's be more strict with the rules.
So make it less of a family, or just it's still an employer-work relationship.
I wish I would have been able to separate the two more, because I think if I would have been a little bit more like, okay, I'm gonna put my business hat on, you're my employee type attitude, I don't think that would have happened.
If she was always kind of a little bit worried about losing her job, then it might have been a little bit different.
Yeah. I was just so in love with her. Like, I loved her like a daughter, and, you know, she was younger than me, but I loved her. I mean, I would give her my clothes. I would let her drive my car, like anything she needed. Like, I was like, how can I help you? Because that's just the person I am. So that's why I was so hurt when everything happened the way that it did, you know? So.
Well, that's good advice. I mean, I think everyone wants to be a lot more cautious.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, it's like a lot of parents are telling me, hey, it was a wake-up call for me, because I'll leave my kid in the bathroom and I just go do the laundry or go do this. And they're like, it woke us up to be like, hey, accidents do happen in the bathrooms, and it doesn't take a lot of water. You know, so it's definitely made me a more cautious parent. I'm more observant, you know. But I hope and pray no one ever has to go through this, because it's something no parent should ever have to go through.
Oh, well, you really inspire us. When can I come to the press box and see you? And which location do you work at?
I'm at the Fowler and Herndon one. I'm in the Clovis one, and I work
nice.
Tuesdays and Wednesday nights.
Well, I want to come by and see you. You're so inspirational. Thank you so much for coming on my show today.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. I truly appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Alert all squads to get to that warehouse immediately.
Yes, sir.
Welcome to the Sparkle Show. With us is Jason Sterling. How are you?
Wagwan, how you feeling? Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on. And I can't get over all of your belts behind you. Can you do a little panorama so we can see everything you got going on?
Oh, yeah, this is some of the stuff that, let me see. See, that's the World Junior Middleweight title. And as you can see, I got about 600 awards maybe.
What the?
See, they all go all around the room.
I've never even heard of such a thing. 600?
Well, probably more. That I'm just guesstimating. I'm just guesstimating.
What is the span of all of this? Is this like? I'm not going to say how many years is this over a period of time?
This is probably about over 20 plus years, close to 30 years.
Wow.
Yeah, close to 30 years, but it's all in the day's work.
Oh. So explain to us your fighting history. Is it all boxing, jiu-jitsu?
See, it's the more coming. Oh, sorry, we're watching a documentary. Sorry, and see right here, so you can see the blue. I think it's the blue trophy right here.
What was that for?
World champion.
Wow.
That's the World Karate Championships in 2001. And this trophy right here was the very first one I won professionally, 1997. I was 17.
Wow.
So, yeah, so that's all. That's, I retired in 2014. So
that's a long career.
Yeah.
And you retired? Is that the average age to retire?
For me, it had to be. But some
Because you were
people,
still in
some
your
people still
30s,
go
right?
on in their 40s.
You were in like your late 30s when you retired.
My early.
Your early 30s.
I'm in my late 30s now.
I know, we're like the same
I was
age.
34 when I retired. Yeah, I was 34 when I retired.
And it was an injury, right? That's why you had to?
No, I just it wasn't just because really the injuries. It was I knew I couldn't do that forever. You know, fighting is a young man's game, and it's like a short-term goal. And so, I mean, as much as I love to do it, you know how like they say, what did Kenny Rogers say? You got to know when to fold them, you got to know when to walk away, know when. And that's
And
what
then
I
you want
did.
to end on a
you
high
know,
note too, right? You're like, you don't want to start losing and like you lost it.
Yeah, I retired as the champion, as the reigning world champion.
That's incredible. So
And,
karate, is it, explain to us, explain to the average person who doesn't know the difference between karate, jiu-jitsu, boxing. What were a lot of these awards in? What are you trained in?
well, I did something called American karate. And American karate is like a hybrid style, like seven different styles, and you study the main techniques: taekwondo, kempo, shotokan, and stuff like that. But I did something. I competed in taekwondo tournaments, kickboxing tournaments, kung fu tournaments. You know, whatever I could get into. So they call it open karate, which means all styles can compete.
Did you do any Muay Thai?
I did.
I think that's such a great workout.
That's what this belt's for.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what that belt's for.
Okay, so what
And,
made you think, hey, I won all these awards, now I want to be a director, actor, filmmaker, and all of that?
Well, that was actually my ultimate goal. Ever since I was little, I wanted to be that. You know, I wanted to be like a movie star, like, you know, like Bruce Lee or Fred Williamson or whoever. But my guy I saw Black Dragon. It was a movie called Black Dragon. And I said, that's it. That's what I want to do right there. Because, you know, like as a kid, you know, growing up in the hood, you know, we all looked at Bruce Lee and, you know, all kind of kung fu movies. But what I looked at, it was like, they don't look like me. So I was like, I can't do that. You know, I can't do that. But when I saw the movie, my mom had me watch a movie called Black Dragon. It was a black guy doing a kung fu movie. And I said, that's it. That's what I want to do. That's it. And I set up from right there. That's what I wanted to do. That's all I've ever wanted to do. And I've been at it pretty much from that time. When I was little, what we used to do was we used to watch movies. Like, you remember when Kung Fu Theater used to come on?
Oh, yeah.
Back in the 80s?
I know, we're like the same age.
Yeah, on like a Saturday, we would watch it. And then on Monday, my crazy self, I would go to school and me and my friends would recreate the fight scenes from the movie during recess. And I was the director and the star. So that's kind of what set it off. And now they're like, even some of them now to this day, they like, you actually did it. I said, yeah, I'm actually doing it. So that's what I actually wanted to do. And I figured that would be a way to get myself in front of the line, because it's a long line of people who are trying to do this. So I had to figure out a way to get myself in front of the line, and that's when I had to start kicking butts. You know what I mean? Kicking butts and winning titles and getting my name out there. So that's what I did.
Well, okay, a lot of actors are good looking and fit and do stunts, but directors, you know, we got Spielberg, we got a lot of directors are nerds. Come on, let's be real. So now we got you directing and acting and doing the stunts and all that. How does that work out? I mean, how did you nerdify yourself? Because you had to learn a lot of stuff behind the camera that I'm sure like was news to you. You got to learn all of that stuff and then do all the cool stuff you do. That must have been a lot of work.
Well, I started out as a stuntman. And once I started doing that, I really you know, you can't really learn if you're gonna really get proficient in this. You're not gonna find that in a book.
Right.
You know, it's good to read, but nothing beats experience. So by me hanging around the guys, and I got to see how they do things, and that's how I just kind of picked it up. I wasn't coached on how to direct. I didn't know what the hell I was.
Exactly.
I didn't know
That's a lot
how
to
to direct. I didn't know. I kind of got into it. Basically, I was pressed into it, and what I say by pressed into it is, I guess we about to get into the Umoya thing now. Nobody wanted to do it. Nobody wanted to direct it and all that. So I was like, well, F it, I'll do it myself. And you know, I had helped produce a couple of projects, you know, before that. So I just watched and learned, and what I did is I study other movies, and I see how other directors do their vision and everything, and I kind of just took notes. You know, you kind of, you know, if you're going to succeed in this business, I always tell people, if you're going to succeed in this business, you have to be a constant student of the game. You always got to watch people who've done it before you, and that's how you learn. So, you know, because you can't, if you want to learn to fly one day, you got to learn to stand and walk. You can't just fly into flying, you know, fly into flying. Mm-hmm.
So, you learned over a period of time to do this. Why did nobody want Umoya? Did they tell you why? What was like the turn down of it?
Well, you know, for one, I was, like I said, I was starting to get bigger roles in independent films and stuff. I was moving up from supporting actor to co-lead, and then I got into producing and then choreographing and all that. I actually, when I finished writing Umoya, I tried to get a few of my friends who are in the business and a few of my colleagues who are in the business who direct and all that to, hey, you know, I got this good idea, let's do it. They were like, why the hell we want to do that?
Is it because they didn't know fights and stunts and choreography? Was that the biggest reason they were like, no, because they didn't know it?
Well, they did. They didn't think it was going to work. Because
they didn't think people were going to be interested?
Yeah, exactly. And you know how like some people, they don't hate what you're doing. They just hate that it's you doing it. So you know, and like let's say you, for instance. I mean, there's nobody, I don't think, who argue they love your show. But there are also people who don't like the fact that it's you who has the show. So it was one of those things. They're like, Jason, you actually created a character. You actually created, you know, a super anti-hero, whatever you want to call it. And they thought it wouldn't work because you don't usually see these type of heroes in the form of people of color. Right.
Yeah, you're right. There's a lot of Asian kung fu. We don't see a lot of black kung fu.
Yeah. You see mostly Caucasians, and you see Asians, and you know, you might see others, but to see a person of color, a black man, in the lead role in the driver's seat, that's very rare, and that happens like every blue moon. So they were like, Jason, it's not gonna work. I'm like, okay, well, we'll see about that. Watch this.
Wow.
So here we are.
But you started in a whole production company, and Umoya is just one of the many things you worked on. What was the process in creating that? Like, here you are, this martial artist. Now you got to put on your producer hat, your director hat. Now you have to get funding for these movies. Can you just explain a little bit of the process?
Well, I kind of got into that once again. Like, I was kind of pressed into it because it's like when you, I mean, are you going to sink or swim in this business?
Right.
And so if you're going to sit there and expect people to see what you see in you, then you just, now that is an illusion. That's a Hollywood illusion. If you think you're just going to walk out there and say, oh, people are just going to know me and they're going to just, take me up. No, because this is a competitive business. And let's face it, they don't want you here. They don't want you here. Once other people get in the door, they try everything they can to lock that damn door.
Right.
So it's up to you. If you want to get in the door, you have to figure out a way to get in the door. If they won't let you in, you have to figure out a way to get in. If you can't kick it down, you got to figure out how to get under it or come through the windows, the roof, the chimney, the toilet, whatever. But as long as you get in there. So that's what I had to do. I just got tired of being slighted. People making these broken promises, and first they say they're going to do this with you, and then they leave you holding the bag, and then everybody says, oh, you're just all talk. Well, it's not me that's all talk, it's you.
Right.
So I had to figure out, I said, okay, well, no man has ever drowned in a pool of his own sweat. So I grabbed it. I just said, well, I do it myself. You got to be what you don't see. Does that make sense?
Exactly. I totally understand what you're talking about.
You have to be what you don't see. If you don't see what's going on out there, if you don't see the change that you think should be there, then you have to do that. Then you should do it. You set the tone. So that's how we created JS Films, Phenom Productions, and all that. Because why sit back and let somebody else dictate and decide your destiny?
And what I find fascinating is you have a great team, and I met great people through this, like Daniel Kelly. I met some great LA actors. Juana, can you explain some of these people and how you got in touch with them? Because you got a very eclectic group from all over California.
Oh, yeah. It kind of just, I didn't know how Umoja was going to turn out. All I was just concerned about was getting it done. So I was learning as they were, I had some knowledge, but I learned more as we were putting this thing together. So I met Daniel at a mixer in Hollywood, and I casted him right there on the spot. We just
He's so
hit it
cool.
off.
I see huge things for that guy.
and he was kind of shocked because I got what they call that Gordy mentality, like Berry Gordy, the founder of Motown.
Right.
That's how he used to just catch talent. He just knew, he could just look at you and he just knew it was something, it was something there. And that's what I do. I just kind of walk into it. so when I vibe with you, I'm like, okay, this is cool. And all I want to know is, are you crazy? Because if you're crazy, I can work with you. Because I'm absolutely, you got to be crazy in this business if you plan on succeeding.
Right.
This business is not for the same. Daniel, and then, we just met people from there. Like Juana came in through one of our other contacts. I think it was Albert. And that's how we got Juana, and we all
Jeffrey,
grew up,
right?
And
And
how'd
you meet Jeffrey? Because he's did a lot of stuff too.
I've known Jeffrey now close to 10 years.
Nice.
Jeffrey was going to work on a prior project of mine. This was before I really got a grasp of how to produce and put a production together. He had got wind of an audition that we were holding. It was for a project called Cage Rage. And we were getting ready to close auditions for that day, and he rolled up. He had got right off work.
The best
he
for
came straight
last.
from work. Exactly, and he killed it. And Cage Rage didn't materialize then, but it will now. Down in the very near future. So he, I kept in touch with him, and he was like, Jason, when are we going to work together? Whenever you want to work together. I was like, I don't know. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. So finally, when fast forward close to 10 years, here comes Umoya, and we were like, well, I need somebody for Bauer, the character Bauer, and I said, you know what, and I'm a big person I like to keep my word to people. When I say you're in, you're in. Look who I called. So Jeff, and then you came in, and that was just kind of a home run. That was a home run.
And I was late too, just like that. I remember you guys weren't there, and I'm calling. I'm like, am I in the right spot?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I'm getting compliments. I get asked who you are all the time in the trailer. I'm like, hey, that's the great one right there.
I was born to be an FBI agent. What can I say?
You slam that photo down like a pro. I'm like, oh, she's a pimp at this. She's a pimptress.
And then we got Bobby Salzer on board. He gave in the food. I mean, you just really pulled. I love how you pulled such an eclectic group from all over California. It's not even just one area. You got everybody.
Well, a production is simply a puzzle that has to be put together. That's all it is. If you got, everybody and all of us have a certain piece for that puzzle to put it together. Somebody has this, somebody know this person.
That's a good way of putting it.
Person. Yeah, and then you just put it all together. You just put the pieces together. And that's how you produce. That's how production is done. So it's like, you give people an opportunity. Everybody wants a chance to flourish some kind of way. Somebody wants a chance to prove their worth. Somebody wants a chance to shine some way. And as a producer, or as me, I like to give people that opportunity. I create the spotlight. I create the stage. I create the platform. And all I need you guys to do is bring the pieces, and we put it together and we make magic. That's how we do it.
So how did it come out? Because I know you're so particular, which is good. And it was kind of delayed because you're like, I'm not happy with it yet. I'm going to still go back into editing. I'm going to do this and that. How eventually did you get it to where you wanted it to be?
Man, we went through so much BS behind the scenes.
The joys of movie making.
Yeah. So, I mean, I've never had to cuss at so many people in all my life. But it's like, I was determined because I've been in projects like that fell through. And you know how that is, when something falls through, you looking like an idiot. You feel like an idiot even though it wasn't your fault.
It's so stressful.
Yeah, and like people look at you like, what happened to your so-called project?
Oh yeah, you're responsible for everything. You're the director, the producer. It's all on you.
Mm-hmm. So I mean, even when you're like not that, it's people still look at it as your fault because everybody's looking to hate on you anyway.
Right.
So I was determined that this was one of those times where I was not going to allow that. This time I was going to allow people, if they were going to hate on me, it wasn't going to be because it fell through. If they were going to hate on me this time, it was going to be because they were jealous because I got it done. That was my plan. So as things were, it seemed like it was one problem after another, and I just, the way I look at it, I used to tell my students when I was teaching martial arts, people don't pay you because you look good. People pay you because you have an ability to solve a problem. Right. They don't pay you because you work. They can, that's why they call it general labor. You move up and, in position because you're able to solve problems. So in order to, by me being the leader of this production, it was on me to solve those problems. So, I had to get people from out of the circle who weren't doing justice to the project. And I had to kind of, get people that had the vision that I wanted. And so, and if something wasn't looking right, I'm not gonna put that
You
out.
weren't going to settle for it.
No. It's either, how like some people say, well, I want something that's good, or I want something that's the best, or I don't want good or the best. Good is third place. The best is for second. The greatest for first. I want something extraordinary. It's either going to be great or not at all. So, I was very, pardon the expression, I was anal, during post, so, if this didn't look right, I'm not going to do it, because this is our first project, our first full produced project from our company. So you don't get a second chance to make a first impression.
That's true.
So so I had to make sure that everything was finito. Everything was on point. Everything. I had to make sure even you looked good. So
I hope it didn't take too much work.
No, you already do that immediately, but when you're on camera, you gotta look, beyond immaculate.
And in sync with everything else that's going on.
And in sync with everything, exactly. So that's what I made sure that, I'm a person that's about quality, not quantity.
Yeah.
You can make 100 pieces and they don't be worth a damn. But you can make that one piece and you're set forever. You're remembered forever. So that's what I'm after. I'm after quality, not quantity.
So you did this project, which is great, and we're going to see next week. But so I thought still, you have a martial arts background. I'm thinking, is this guy a one-trick pony? Then I get a script, The Mirror, and it's completely different than you, Moya. And it blows me away. And I'm like, no, this guy is like all the way around eclectic. He's multifaceted. He could do everything. How do you go from one extreme to another?
Well, you gotta, you could tell who are just in this business for a paycheck, and you can tell who is really about this life. So I didn't want to just stop at Umoya. I'm always trying to challenge myself.
And if all you did was Umoya, that would have been fine because that was great. But then this other, I'm so impressed.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. I wanted to challenge myself. I was like, okay, it's not, it was like I take my martial arts training and I use that training to help me in the film industry. Because it's like when I was U.S. champ or when I was state champ, that wasn't enough for me. I wanted to be U.S. champ. So I had to push harder. And then when I won the U.S. championship, I wanted to be world champion. So I'm constantly challenging myself. So for The Mirror, I was watching some horror movies one night. And I said, you know what? I could do that.
You make it sound so easy, Jason.
Yeah. I was like, I could do that. So what I did was after about 2 or 3 hours of watching The Twilight Zone and watching some other movies, I started putting the scenario together. And within maybe 2 or 3 days after thinking about it, I wrote it.
That's just incredible. And then you got a good cast. You have this all going again. This is so exciting.
Well, what we're trying to do at JS Film is build a family. And what you do is you make sure your family eats. And what I mean by eats is, you're doing the same thing we're doing, and what good of a family member would I be if I'm eating but I'm not helping you eat? And so it's when I saw, I'm like, let's round up the crew, let's go on a bigger adventure, because the way I look at this is, when you're trying to succeed and you're trying to be remembered and you're trying to, that's what we all want to be in this business. We want to leave an impact. You don't just want to come here and just collect a check.
Be a fly by night. You want to be.
That's it. You want people to remember you, and you want people to look back at you one day, and they see you on the street when you're like 45, 50, 60 years old. Maybe let's say you're not doing it no more. You want people to come back to you and say, I remember your project. That was badass. Thank you. That inspired me, or, that was some awesome work there. That's what you want to hear.
Right.
And so this is a battle. You got to look at this like, if you want to climb to the top, it's war getting there. It's war getting there. The question is, are you willing to lace your boots up
and go to war?
And go to war.
Go to battle.
Exactly. And the moment of truth will always come. And whatever you choose to do, the moment of truth will always come. And when that moment of truth comes, that's when it will be revealed who you really are and what you're really about. So when I was tasked, I self-tasked myself to challenge myself to climb higher. I want to sit at the throne. And the way I tell people, all of you can rush to be first, but none of you are going to be next. The throne is mine.
That's a good way of looking at it. That's a great analogy. Jason, when is Umoja coming out? Can you tell us when it's?
Oh man, Umoja is scheduled to come out on the 30th of this month.
Yay! Where can we watch it?
So we're gonna do a live watch party on Facebook, and we're gonna drop it probably on. I'm thinking about dropping it on YouTube after that.
So everybody has to follow JS Films.
Yes.
On Facebook.
Yes.
So if you guys don't have a Facebook, get one.
Yes, get on JS Films. I'm telling you. I mean, and this is just the start. Wait till you see what I got for another Umoja project. I got some cooking.
I believe it. After I've seen two completely different scripts that were awesome, I can only imagine what's next.
After I'm really just stoked about it because it took us 10 years to get here. I created Umoja on a hospital bed. Writing it, I wrote Umoja laying in a hospital. I had just had cancer to beat the big C, which I successfully beat.
Cancer? What kind of cancer?
Urethral. And I beat it. I beat it, and been C free. I don't even like to say the word. I always call it the big C. That was in 2011. So do the math. So it's I wrote it then.
So you still competed after having cancer because you retired in 2014.
Yeah. In fact, 3 months after the surgery, I was told I was never going to fight again. I was told I was never going to kick again. I was never going to fight again. 3 months later.
Oh, you're crazy.
I still had stitches, mind you. 3 months later, I won that belt right there. That belt, this one right there. I won that belt right there.
Oh my gosh. Jason, were you in the Olympics?
It was they had a tournament called the Martial Arts Olympics. It wasn't connected to the
Martial Arts Olympics. And that you won in the Martial Arts Olympics. You placed in that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's amazing.
I got a bronze. I got a bronze, and I got a gold in team sparring, and I got a bronze in forms. But I rarely even talk about that, because you got a lot of these people. Oh no, that wasn't that. But it was actually a tournament called the Martial Arts Olympics.
Well, that's the best in its field, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it was like another martial arts tournament. It was like another martial arts tournament, and I won in the Goodwill. I won a gold medal in the Goodwill Games in Mexico in 2001. And I've been on the U.S. martial arts team 8 times. I was on a U.S. martial arts team 8 times. And the last time I was on it, I finally got a chance to be a coach. So I was a competitor and a coach. So that was awesome right there. I mean, that's what you want to do. I love to share. I love to share what I've learned and what has made me successful. I like to share it with other people, because I was a long shot. Nobody gave me a chance in hell. I was the one that was set up for failure. I didn't do too well in school because my mind was elsewhere. I wanted to do what I was doing now.
You were thinking way too far ahead. You couldn't live in the moment. I was thinking way too far ahead, because sometimes when you live in the moment, it's not good to live in the moment when you're a kid. It's you live in the moment when you're an adult, because that's when it counts. That's when it counts. When you're a kid, you got to do as much as you can, because that's preparing you for what's ahead as an adult, because your moment will come when you reach adulthood, whatever that may be. And what you learned back then will determine how you grab and do, how you do that moment when it arrives and you're an adult, if you make it to it. You got to keep dreaming then. You can't just be like in that. You got to think ahead and keep dreaming, because it happens.
Well, yeah. And people always try to say, well, Jason, you always had it. I was always told that when I was a kid, there you go. Your imagination is running wild. And, I had a teacher once. We had a journal in school. We had to write in it like every other day. And she said, and the subject was, what did you want to be when you grow up? And I told her I wanted to be a martial arts movie star, and I wanted to be a director, producer,
I can only imagine.
And blah, blah, blah. And you know what she said? She was like, "Are you crazy?" Because I grew up in Pomona, California. That's the hood. So if like, you'd be lucky, they thought you did something good if you just managed to get a job at McDonald's. That was cool. But I wanted better than that. So she made me rewrite it over.
Wow.
And obviously I didn't do it. And she sent me to the principal's office, and the principal looked at what I wrote, and he was like, never mind, you sent me back to class. And I always tell people, when people say, listen to me, you don't get, if you want to make it, you're not going to make it always by listening to people. Because sometimes when people tell you to listen to them, there's usually 9 times out of 10, they're always going to give you advice of discouragement, not encouragement. So I always tell people, I didn't get to where I am now by always listening to people. So sometimes I know myself better than any quote unquote doctor or any quote unquote more experienced person. I know what I'm crazy enough to do and what I'm smart enough not to do.
Jason, you're awesome. Thank you so much for coming on my show.
Thanks for having me.
We're going to keep a lookout for next week for you, Moya.
Thank you. And everybody, keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. All right.
Thanks.
You can have all that you want to.